So I just watched a video on a channel by a guy called Jamie. His channel is kind of blowing up at the moment. It's quite interesting what he talks about. He talks about pretty much the same as me, or more about physical media and collecting as opposed to just reviews of straight up releases. And it got me thinking, because he just posted a video, I think it was yesterday, about well, you don't need 4K. Now, I completely understand people buying 4K. They want the best quality format, or the best quality picture format, blah, 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 blah. But is it a financially viable option in the long run compared to, say, DVD or Blu-ray? I mean, when you really think about 4K, like Blu-rays and DVDs, so you could buy a DVD player for like 25 quid on Amazon, and it'll run through a HDMI cable, and it'll upscale the picture, maybe not to 1080p, but it'll get 720, maybe 1080i. And that's 25 quid for the DVD player, and then maybe like 5 quid for just a standard HDMI cable. Then you can buy a Blu-ray player. I mean, you can buy a Blu-ray player now for about 65, 70 quid. Again, run it through a cheapo HDMI cable or run it through an expensive HDMI cable. You're going to get fantastic picture quality. You can even buy a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One or at a higher cost, but you can still use it as a Blu-ray player. And then all you need then is a high-definition 1080p television. And you can pick up TVs larger and larger size these days for a lower cost than you would have been able to a few years ago. But when you get to 4K you need the best equipment to get the full experience of a 4K release. So you'd have to buy a 4K Blu-ray player. Those can go between 250 to 3 to 4, maybe even 500 quid. But then you need a better quality HDMI cable, a 4K HDMI player, HDMI cable, to run through to a 4K HDR OLED TV to get the full sort of like image and the full impact from that release that you're watching. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against 4K at all. I've got a few. In fact, the one I showed the other day is Studio Canal's UHD release of Flash Gordon. It's a fantastic collection. Absolutely stunning box set, and it's got so much stuff, and it's 5 discs. And it includes the UHD and the Blu-ray. And the reason I bought that was because it was on offer. Reduced from, I think it was $59 or $49.99 to $31.99. And like, I won't spend a huge amount of money on a release because I feel that there are other releases that I can buy for the same amount of money. I can get multiple. I know I've said in the past, it's about quality, not quantity. But if I'm going to be spending $49.99 on a Flash Gordon release, but then, like, say the Goonies on 4K. Now, there's a story behind me owning the Goonies on 4K. This is the first high-definition format that I've owned the Goonies on. I didn't own the Blu-ray. I did own the DVD. I owned a Region 1 DVD and a UK DVD. The reason I bought the UK DVD is because I thought I'd misplaced the US DVD, the Region 1 disc. But prior to that, I'd owned it on VHS, which I bought from Choices years ago when VHS was still a thing. Choices Online was a great website for physical media. But, like, with the Flash Gordon, if I paid 50 quid for that, and then buying the Goonies and the other one, because it was 2 for £25 from HMV. The other one I bought at the same time was the Batman. And now I still haven't watched Batman. I've had this for about 2 years now, and well, since it came out, since it was in the offer. And I still haven't watched the movie. I will get around to watching it. I just need the chance. But the reason I bought these was because it was cheaper to buy these in the 2 for $25 offer than it was to buy the individual, the Batman and the Goonies at the time. So that's why I ordered them. That's why I bought them, because it was a cheaper option. Which is madness to think that it's the cheaper option to buy the 4K. Now, I've got a 4K TV in my living room. I don't have one in the bedroom. I only have a 1080p TV, full high definition 1080p. Downstairs, we have a 4K television, which is where the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 is currently hooked up, because they are both used as 4K players in the house. So we can watch 4K movies downstairs on a 60, I think it's 55-inch 4K TV. Up here in the bedroom, in the cavern, I can only really watch 1080p Blu-rays, but I'm absolutely fine with that. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, well, not a couple of weeks ago, in the video the other day, I watched the 4K restoration of The Driver, Walter Hill's fantastic neo-noir film, The Driver, from 1978. I watched this just on Blu-ray through the PlayStation 4, and it looks fantastic. And this is just the normal 1080p Blu-ray, but it's got that 4K restoration. Now, I could have got the 4K release of The Driver, but this was the cheaper option. I think that I paid $9.99 for that, where it's like $24.99 for the Blu-ray. Now, financially, is it worth spending the amount of money that you're spending on 4K when you can get the same, basically the same product on Blu-ray for like or over half the price? Now, this is the standard 1080p Blu-ray release of Mad Max. This looks pretty good. I bought this. It comes in the Mad Max Collection box set, which came out in 2013. It's got Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and Thunderdome in it. This is a really good box set. But this is just a regular old 1080p catalogue release from Warner Brothers. It looks pretty good. It does what it says on the tin. There's very little in the way of special features, which is fine. I just wanted it for the movie. But I absolutely adore the Mad Max movies. So I had to buy this, which is the 4K UHD. I think it's Cine something release, which were, I think they're exclusive to HMV. This was $24.99 for this set. This has got the outer box, the hard case outer box with the original artwork on there. It's also got the 4K, excuse me, the 4K release. It doesn't have the same artwork, but this also has the Blu-ray with it. So if I want to watch the Blu-ray up here, I can watch the remastered Blu-ray, or I can watch the 4K downstairs. And it has these art cards with them as well, these postcards. This was $24.99 from HMV. I've just ordered the Road Warrior, which I'm waiting for it to arrive. I have ordered a few more films that will be coming, because there's a lot of Easter sales on at the moment. But the reason I bought this is because I love the movie, and I do want to see it in the best possible way, and I do want to watch it in 4K. And I also, like I said, I love this packaging. I love it so much. And I know I made a video. It was a long video. I think it was about 34 minutes of me talking about how and why I don't care about packaging. And for the most part, I don't. But for films that I absolutely adore, something like the Mad Max film, or Flash Gordon, or Second Sight's Dawn of the Dead, these are films that I absolutely, these are like my top 10, in my top 10 films. These are the films that I want in the best possible way. Other films, like, do I really care about having a 4K release from Arrow of Time Bandits? No, I don't, because it's not a film that I'm going to watch over and over again. It's a film I'm going to watch maybe once or twice over the next couple of years. But I have the option there on the physical to be able to watch it. But the fact that now that physical media is being pulled from stores like Best Buy or I think it was Walmart or something like that in the States, and Disney have ceased production in places like Australia of their physical media, a lot of people will say, well, physical media is dying. It's not going to die. It's not dying. It's just evolving to a more niche market, which I keep reiterating in every single fucking video, that physical media isn't dying. You've got these boutique labels like Arrow, like 88, like one of my favorite boutique labels is Indicator, Powerhouse Indicator, who are releasing some fantastic, like, classic genre films and some art house movies that you may not have been able to have seen, or may not have been able to get on DVD or previous Blu-ray releases. But these films are coming out, and they're great. I mean, these put out this. Now, this is an awful, terrible piece of crap movie. Well, it's not a piece of crap, but it's not a good movie. It's John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. Why is this on this boutique label that has, like, this, like, all this stuff on the back? All this, like, all these special features about the making of Ghosts of Mars. It's a John Carpenter film of, like, we all know that Carpenter he's not an A film filmmaker. He's a B film filmmaker. Now a lot of people are going to be like, how dare you say that? John Carpenter is not a B film filmmaker. Yes, he is. The Thing, one of the greatest horror films of all time, is a B movie. It's a remake of a 1950s B movie. The Fog is a B movie. The fucking Halloween is a B movie. They're all B movies. They Live as a B movie because they're genre pictures. And yes, I would love to get a 4K release of The Thing because it's one of my favourite horror films of all time. But the fantastic restoration that Arrow did on The Thing is perfectly fine. It'll suit me. It's fine. But the fact that you've got these fantastic boutique labels putting care into crap movies like Ghosts of Mars or 101 doing restorations on films like this one. Like this, restorations on films like Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Again, a massive 80s B movie. Like, a lot of people aren't going to know what Space Hunter is because it's sort of obscure. The same with Stone Cold. It's an action movie from 1991, directed by Craig R. Baxley, who is a stunt coordinator, starring a former NFL football player called Brian Bosworth. This film, it's a B movie, but it's had some love and attention put into a fantastic restoration for collectors. These, like, I remember when 101 started and they were putting out these really low budget horror zombie movies, and it was, but then they went into, like, sort of doing putting out movies from actual studios, like The Class of '84, fantastic movie, awesome film from the early '80s. That's on their 101 Black label, so that's their, like, high end sort of what they call it, label version, like Johnny Mnemonic as well. This film's awful. Like, I love Keanu Reeves. I love The Matrix. I love Speed. I love, like, the John Wick movies. Absolutely adore Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey. Even Bill and Ted Face the Music. But they're putting things out like Johnny Mnemonic. And I know I'm kind of getting away from talking about the financial viability of and longevity of 4K. But it makes me wonder whether or not, like, it's worth buying these films and then rebuying them again when a 4K release comes out. I just don't see the point. Like, when you take a film like, say this one, right? This is John Wick Chapter 4. This is the 4K UHD of John Wick Chapter 4. The only reason I bought this one is because this was only £2 more expensive in CEX than the regular Blu-ray. So I was just like, well, if it's only £2 more, then I might as well. And I'm going to be honest, I completely forgot this was on 4K. I thought I just had the regular Blu-ray. So this film was shot. It was filmed in 4K. It was, in fact, it was probably filmed in 8K with the red cameras. It was shot in high definition. It was shot in a 4K resolution. So it makes sense that you'd buy it on a 4K because it's going to look exactly the same as it was made. But for something like The Goonies, which wasn't shot in 4K, it was shot in 35mm film, it's going to look a hell of a lot better than the DVD and the Blu-ray look, because it's had that love and attention, and that, don't get me wrong, the Blu-rays definitely had love and attention put to it, because it's going to be a high-def version of a 35mm scan. It's not going to be a 4K release of a film shot in 4K. Now, I can imagine something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's film from, I think it was 2019, which is a modern movie, is going to look fantastic on 4K because that is a film that was shot on 35mm film. It makes more sense to watch that in 4K than a film shot in 4K on 4K, because it's going to look better. But with these boutique labels that are bringing out more and more movies in a 4K format, but the price is going up exponentially, I don't see it lasting longer in the long run than, say, 101 Films or Powerhouse or even Eureka to an extent, just continually putting out 4K restorations on 1080p discs. It makes more sense in the long run financially to put those movies out on that lower end format than putting it out on 4K, because if you can go onto Indicator's website, onto Powerhouse's website, they've got a 3 for 20 offer where you can get the standard editions of some of these movies, like this film, which is one of the best crime films from the 1950s, which is The Big Heat. You can get this in there 2 for 20, well, in there 3 for 20 quid, along with John Carpenter's Christine, another fantastic B movie, because it is a B movie, it's a horror movie, it's based on a Stephen King novel. And then this, Forced Hent from Navarone, a sequel to The Guns of Navarone, one of the greatest war films of all time. Forced Hent from Navarone is not a great movie. It's a fun movie. It's got Robert Shaw, Harrison Ford, and Franco Nero in there. It also has Edward Fox. But you can get those 3 movies for 20 quid. Where if you waited, or if you bought this on the limited edition, or if, I can't even remember if it did come out in 4K, but if you waited and bought this on 4K, you would then be spending 25 to 30 quid for this release on 4K, when you can get a perfectly decent 1080p high definition remaster for fucking £7.50 or £6.50 from the website. So I'm not saying I'm against 4K at all. I think 4K is a fantastic format for older films, for films that are shot on film, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a great example because it is shot on 35mm. But the fact that you've got companies like Arrow that were at one point putting out movies for $14.99 on Blu-ray, putting films out now for upwards of 30 quid on 4K. And that's probably because they're owned by the Zavvi, I think it's the Hut now. I don't know if this is in focus, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I don't know whether or not in the long run 4K is viable And I just also wanted to talk about these Blu-ray YouTubers who are doing things, specific ones like Serial at Midnight doing every single release by Kino Lorber for the month of February. It's like, where the fuck did you get that money? That is insane. There's a stack of movies. There's like 40 movies, 50 movies released by Kino Lorber, and he's bought every single one of them. Like, how the fuck do you afford it at maybe $29, $39 a pop? Like, I earn pretty decent money a month for my job. And I have only just started spending maybe 25 quid on a fucking release. So where someone like Serial at Midnight gets the money, and I can guess it's probably ad revenue or, what do they call it? Promotions or like sponsored videos and stuff. But still, fuck me, man. That is a lot of money to spend on just physical media. Like, especially if you're buying every single 4K release from a company. That is fucking mental. But I'm not going to say anything against Elliot Cohen with boutique Blu-rays, because that guy likes a certain type of movie. Yeah, I watched his recent pickups video, and there's a few films in there that he picked up that I just wouldn't spend the money on. But that's fair. I mean, the guy likes certain movies. He likes a lot of world cinema stuff. And he only ever shows off maybe 4 or 5 or 6 films that he's picked up, and that's pretty cool. I mean, he likes certain movies. That's great. But Serial at Midnight, fucking hell, dude. That is a lot of money to spend on movies that you're probably only ever going to watch once. And I can appreciate the fact that you are doing this service to people, but do not get yourself into a financial position where you are struggling. And I can understand as well that he may be able to write it off as a business expense. But Jesus Christ, that is a lot of money to spend on 4K releases just to be able to go, well, this 4K release is this good. This 4K release is this good. Fuck. And I like Serial at Midnight. I think his videos are fantastic. But one thing that Jamie pointed out in his video about does 4K, you don't need 4K, is keeping up with Blu-ray YouTube collectors or Blu-ray influencers. And I am not an influencer in the slightest. I buy most of my movies, I buy from HMV, or I buy in sales, and I buy from CEX. Like, okay, I'm going to tilt this down, because bear in mind, my room is tiny, and there is a very small amount of space. So, the floor does get rammed. I'm going to swipe it down. I'm going to take this lamp off a sec. Take the lamp off because it's getting in the way. Right. You'll see the stuff that is on the floor. See this pile of DVDs or Blu-rays that is on the floor? That is stuff that I have recently purchased. Ignore the hairdryer. This is stuff that I've recently purchased and stuff that has been that I've showcased in videos. That is stuff that has been purchased over the last couple of months that I've done, and stuff that I have like used as examples in videos. Because I just haven't put them back on. Because I don't know if you can see behind me. There are gaps. You can't see. There's gaps here. There's gaps there. This is a film that will be up in the next. What the fuck did I buy, by the way? So, like, feeling the need to kind of compete with these 4K influencers is insane. Like, you don't need to buy the 4K because this channel tells you have to, or this channel tells you have to. There is one channel, something movies, I can't remember the name of it now, that the dude just buys everything. He bought the 4K ultra release of Titanic. Titanic is a fucking awful movie. I own it on Blu-ray. Of course I do. Because I bought it, and I've mentioned this multiple times. It is not James Cameron's finest hour. That is clearly Terminator 2, which he has fucked up multiple times on Blu-ray releases. Now, I own multiple copies of Terminator 2 on DVD and Blu-ray. I bought this because, yeah, it's not a good movie at all. It is really not a good movie. It's a 3.5-hour love story set against the sinking of the Titanic. Why anyone would spend over the odds just to get the 4K collector's edition is a fucking fool. Absolutely. I paid $7.99 for this. And it's fine. It'll do me. And the reason I bought it is because I wanted to see what it looked like in high definition. Because I don't own it on DVD. And the last time I watched it was on a double VHS set. Many, many moons ago. My grandmother was still alive then. But then something like Terminator... And I'm going to show this. I have these two releases. So this is the brand new digital release. I think this is the 4K restoration. But this is just the regular Blu-ray of Terminator. This looks good. It looks okay. But I know people have got issues with it. This, on the other hand, is the Terminator Skynet edition. Again, this looks perfectly fine. It looks good. This is slightly better on Blu-ray, but this looks good. Why did I buy this? Because I love the movie, and I wanted to get a better version. But I also own this movie on DVD. So, why do I own two versions of it on Blu-ray? Because I love the movie. I do. I own two versions of the Terminator. This is the only version that I own on Blu-ray. This is the Region 1 MGM release. It says it's Region A, but it plays on all regions. It's one of those ones that, for some reason, is playable on most things. And I also own that on DVD. But am I going to buy a 4K of Terminator 1 when it comes out? Probably not, because that's perfectly good. So the fact that I'm able to buy stuff like the Powerhouse Indicator movies for 3 for £20, or buying the 101 Films Black Label stuff because they all constantly have sales. I do not need to get a 4K release of them. I don't own a single 4K release of an Arrow movie. Or do I? That is a very good question. No, I don't. My Robin Hood and my Waterworld are just the regular Blu-rays. They're perfectly serviceable. They look great. They sound great. They have all the special features that are on a 4K release. So, do I need to buy the 4K release? No, I don't. Because I've got it on Blu-ray. I can watch it. And it looks fine if I run it through a 4K player like the Xbox. And like I said, I've got no problem with 4K. I don't have a problem with 4K movies. But the problem I have is that the more 4K films that get released, the higher the prices is going. And obviously, with certain films, specifically Arrow movies, they are getting more and more expensive, and they're getting more and more limited, and Arrow aren't releasing standard releases of these films. They're only releasing them in the high definition, fucking ultra amazing releases. And I think that's stupid when you've got a company like Powerhouse Films who are releasing 4K, not 4K, who are releasing limited edition Blu-rays of these releases, and then maybe 2 months later releasing a standard edition of those films is fantastic for people who cannot afford to spend 25 to 30 quid or $39.99 on a limited edition. Again, same with all the 101 release Black Label films. Right, these are the standard $9.99 release. Like, I paid $9.99 for these. These are the standard releases. They just don't have the extra bollocks that comes with it. Why can't Arrow do that with their releases? I've got a lot of standard released Arrow movies, as you can see. But I would love to get like some of the newer stuff in a standard release and not have to pay through the fucking nose. I know that Conan has been released by Arrow in the States because it's owned by Universal over there. In the UK, it's owned by 20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney. So you're probably going to just see the regular releases. And I know it's released by Universal in the States, because I have the Universal releases on region 3 American Blu-ray. But would I like a 4K standard edition of Conan to be released in the UK? Yeah, of course I would. I don't need the ultra amazing, because it's going to be limited and it's going to be expensive. But I think what I'm trying to get at is 4K is a great format for films that are old. If you do a 4K restoration on a film that is shot prior to digital, you're going to feel the benefit. And yeah, of course, a film that is shot in 4K, like John Wick Chapter 4, is also going to look amazing because it was filmed in that format. It was filmed in that resolution. So it's going to look amazing. But when you take a film like Walter Hill's The Driver and you do a 4K restoration, it's going to look unbelievably amazing. Even when that restoration is put on a regular Blu-ray, because it is a high definition transfer. Yeah, it's going to look even better on a 4K disc, but that 4K disc is only going to feel the benefit if you play it through a like super duper amazing 4K Blu-ray player through to a full-on 4K HDR OLED like super duper $9,000 TV. My TV cost me 250 quid from thestudio.com. My DVD player cost me $24.99 from amazon.com or .co.uk. My PlayStation 4, which I'm currently using as a Blu-ray player in my bedroom, cost me nothing because I traded in a fuck ton of my Blu-rays to CEX to be able to afford that. And I traded in movies that I don't watch. My Xbox One, which is downstairs, is my 4K player, which is hooked up to my 4K TV downstairs. Now, my 4K TV downstairs doesn't have HDR, but it has like a setting on there called game mode, which when you switch that on, it makes games look a hell of a lot better, and it actually makes movies look a lot better. Case in point, I was watching Star Wars The Phantom Menace on Disney Plus in 4K. Because it was running through the 4K TV, it automatically detects that you're on a 4K TV. It doesn't detect it on here. And just in the standard sort of image, it looked all right. It just looked a little bit hazy and a little bit dark. I popped it onto game mode and completely different. Looks so much better. So I'd say it's sort of like a fake HDR. But my Xbox as well. I traded in my Xbox One to get my Xbox Series X. And I traded in some more Blu-rays to be able to afford it. And it's just stuff that I'm just never going to watch that's sat there. But do I use my Xbox One to watch 4K Blu-rays? No. Because I've got maybe 6 in total. Anyway, I'm just rambling again and again and again. So my thing is that, yeah, 4K is a fantastic format, but it's getting more and more expensive. It costs far too much money to be able to run these movies through 4K. If you do not have the finances to be able to do it, then stick to Blu-ray. Blu-ray is a godsend to the world. Like DVD was a godsend to the world. 4K is the format of influencers. Yeah, movies look amazing on 4K, but if you're listening to these Blu-ray YouTubers, these physical media collectors who are constantly harping on about how amazing 4K is, and you need to get this release on 4K, you need to get this release on 4K, you need to get this release on 4K. Case in point being the latest True Lies, everyone was just like, oh yeah, James Cameron's back with True Lies, finally, True Lies, True Lies, True Lies, True Lies. I fucking love True Lies. I think it's a fantastic movie. And then it comes out and everyone's just like, I can't believe James Cameron's done this. He used AI and DNR and he didn't do a true 4K transfer on it because he used AI to do it. It's like, he doesn't owe you anything. Like, you've already paid your money to see True Lies. You paid it in 1994 when you went to see it in the cinema. You paid it when you bought the DVD. You paid it when you bought the bootleg Spanish Blu-ray from Amazon Spain. Like, if you're a true movie collector, a person who collects movies, not discs, you are the top person, because you are you're preserving cinema in a physical format. Now, if you're the type of person that's only just going to moan about the tiniest, like, if you're analysing a Blu-ray disc to its tiniest point, like every minute detail of it, then you need to get out more. Like, we all want to watch films in the best quality way. We do. But if a film that you spent your money on isn't how you perceived it would look, and then you just go on a tirade about how James Cameron doesn't deserve your money, or the Ridley Scott director's cut of Alien is piss poor and pale comparison to the original one, then I haven't got time for you. Like, if you're a movie lover, you're a movie lover. If all you're concerned with is the bit rate, the time, the run time, and whatever the fuck else is on the disc, and not the movie, then you can suck one and get bent. Because, like, what's the point of being a film fan or a cinephile, like I pointed out in the last one, or a film buff, if all you're concerned about is the hardware and not the content on that hardware? Anyway, I've talked a lot again. Wasn't really planning on doing a video tonight, and I know I've rambled a lot about 4K, and I've gone on about other stuff, but oh my god, I'm sweating buckets because I'm wearing this hooded jumper and it's getting hot. I'm gonna, as usual, I'm gonna say thank you everyone for watching the previous videos, and for liking and subscribing and for commenting on the thing. I've got a few films on the way that I've ordered in the Easter sales, which I will be showing in the next What the Fuck Did I Buy episode. And I'm thinking of doing a live stream, sort of podcasty type of thing in the future. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, just say yay or nay. I'll put it in the community tab. But that's me for tonight. I'm knackered. I'm still getting over this fucking cold. But yeah, I'm done. I went to watch Al Murray live tonight, and it was incredibly funny. I love Al Murray. He's one of my favourite comedians. But thank you everyone for watching me moan and just complain and talk shit for 40 minutes again. And as usual, I'm going to throw up the peace sign. Peace. I'm out. Cheers, everyone. Have a good one.